So, when you think of Greenland, what comes to mind? Probably just a massive, endless sheet of ice, right? And hey, you're not wrong about that. But underneath all that ice, there's an incredible story. A story of ancient peoples, colonial politics, buried Cold War secrets, and maybe, just maybe, a new nation waiting to be born. Let's peel back that layer of ice and see what's really going on. This exact question was all over the news not that long ago, and it's not the first time it's been asked. It really gets to the heart of Greenland's growing importance on the world stage. But to figure out why, we can't just look at a map from today. We have to go back in time, a long way back. Long before any modern countries were drawing lines on a map, this land was already home to wave after wave of incredibly resilient people. For literally thousands of years, they figured out how to thrive in one of the toughest environments on the entire planet. I mean, just look at this timeline. It shows a staggering 4,500 years of human history. It all starts with the Saqqaq people. Much, much later, you have Norse settlers arriving from Iceland, and for a while, the Norse actually lived alongside the newly arrived Thule people, who are the direct ancestors of today's Inuit. But then something strange happens. After hundreds of years of survival, the Norse settlements just disappeared. And you gotta understand, this wasn't some brief, failed little experiment. The Norse built a real, functioning society that lasted for nearly half a millennium, adapting and surviving in that brutal climate. Why they left or died out? Well, that remains one of history's biggest mysteries. So, with the Norse gone, the stage was set for a new European power to arrive, one that would shape Greenland's destiny for centuries to come: Denmark. Okay, so the turning point really happens in 1814. The Napoleonic Wars have just ended, and the map of Scandinavia is getting a complete makeover. Denmark had backed the losing side, Napoleon. So as part of the Treaty of Kiel, they were forced to give up the entire Kingdom of Norway to Sweden. And this is the tiny little detail in the fine print that changed everything for Greenland. The old Norwegian territories, Greenland, Iceland, and the Faroe Islands, were specifically left out of the deal. They stayed with Denmark. And just like that, Greenland's long history as a Danish colony officially began. For a long time after that, Greenland was just a remote, quiet colonial outpost. But then the 20th century rolls around, and with it, the Cold War. Suddenly, its location, smack dab between the US and the Soviet Union, caught the eye of the United States, and that led to one of the wildest, most secret projects of the entire era. So the official story everyone was fed was this: Camp Century. It was billed as this amazing scientific research station, a literal city built under the ice. You'd see it in magazines, promoted as a symbol of American innovation in the Arctic, all built with Denmark's permission, of course. But it was all a cover story. The real reason for all this? It was a top-secret military operation, codenamed Project Iceworm. And the plan? Well, it was absolutely mind-blowing. The US military was going to dig thousands of miles of tunnels deep beneath the ice sheet. The goal? To hide a massive, mobile network of up to 600 nuclear missiles. It was designed to be a secret launch site that could survive a Soviet first strike and still hit back with devastating force. But there was one giant, fatal flaw they didn't count on: the Greenland ice sheet. It looked solid, but it's actually in constant, slow motion. Geologists quickly figured out the shifting ice would crush the tunnels within just a few years. Project Iceworm was scrapped, and the secret city under the ice was left to be reclaimed by nature. You see, that whole Cold War episode really put Greenland on the map strategically, but it also lit a fire under the Greenlandic people for more control over their own land and their own destiny. That desire kept growing, and it all came to a head with a historic agreement in the 21st century. And this right here, this is the document that changes the game, the 2009 Act on Self-Government. Tucked away inside, in Chapter 8, is something truly incredible: an official, legally binding path for Greenland to become its own, fully independent country. So let's just break this down for a second. What did this act actually do? First, it gave Greenland's own government control over huge areas of responsibility, everything from the police to the court system. Second, it gave Greenland the rights to all the money made from its massive mineral and energy resources. And finally, and this is the big one, it put in writing that the final decision on independence belongs to the people of Greenland and them alone. So think about it. After centuries of being a colony, after being a secret pawn in the Cold War,
Greenland is finally in the driver's seat, charting its own course in a world that is changing faster than ever.
So when we look at Greenland today, all those different pieces of its history come together. We're talking about the world's largest island, packed with untapped resources. As the Arctic ice melts, its physical location becomes more and more strategic. And most importantly, it holds a clear legal pathway to becoming an independent nation. And all of this leads us to the big final question. The story of Greenland isn't really about ice anymore. It's about resources, it's about self-rule, and it's about strategic power. As the climate keeps changing and global superpowers start paying attention again, the question isn't if Greenland matters. The real question is how it will choose to write the next chapter of its story on the world stage.